Hi, good afternoon. My name is Christopher McDonald, and today I have the opportunity to interview our senatorial candidate for the 34th Legislature, Mr. Milton Potter. Please note we are currently live on social media with Facebook and YouTube. So good afternoon, Mr. Potter. How are you doing today?
Excellent. Good afternoon.
Great. So my first question for you is, can you please let us know who is Milton Potter, and what would you like the Virgin Islanders to know about your plans as it pertains to being a senator in the 34th Legislature?
Okay. Well, I am the seventh of 8 children, born to my parents, Margaret and Cecil Potter. My father really was a Port Authority firefighter and a lifelong taxi driver here in St. Thomas. Mm-hmm. My mom worked on Main Street, various gift shops and sales. I was born on the island of Tortola, but I basically lived most of my life here in St. Thomas. Mm-hmm. All of my formative years were spent here in St. Thomas. I was educated here from kindergarten through 12th grade. Mm-hmm. I'm a die-hard graduate of the Valley Ken High School at Delaware. After graduation, I attended Florida A&M University, Tallahassee, Florida, where I obtained 2 degrees. I have a degree in criminal justice, and I have a second degree in a master's degree in school psychology. So after graduation, I took a job at Florida State University, where I worked as a counselor in a counseling center at the school. And I also worked as a school psychologist in an office that they call a multidisciplinary center. So I was able to work with young people in the North Florida area, as well as college students at Florida State University. So it was a really interesting opportunity that was presented to me. I did that for about 3 years before getting a call to come back home. Came back home to St. Thomas. My first job was at the University of the Virgin Islands, at UVI, and I worked with the Upward Bound program. I don't know if you're familiar with Upward Bound. Yes. So I was a project counselor at Upward Bound, and I really tell people that Upward Bound was the least that I ever made professionally, in my professional career, but it was the most fun that I've ever experienced in a job to this very day. It was an awesome experience. Upward Bound does some really powerful things as far as transforming young people. I've seen people come to the program shy, introverted, and the program just does some magical things. So it was just awesome having an opportunity to be a part of that. Yeah. Following Upward Bound, I had an opportunity to work at the Virgin Islands Legislature as Chief of Staff for Senator Oswald Potter for 2 terms. That was a very interesting experience also. Following the legislature, following my stint there in the legislature, I had an opportunity to work in the executive branch of government. I worked for 2 really dynamic ladies, Karen Andrews and Oren Roebuck. They were chief negotiators at different periods of time. And worked with them. I was able to, as part of the government's contract negotiating team, prominent member of that team, we negotiated 30 collective bargaining agreements for public sector employees. So we were part of that. I served as a consultant, basically, to department and agency heads, as well as HR officers in the GBI. We dealt with grievances and just everything and anything and everything having to do with labor relations. So it was a really awesome opportunity there that was afforded me. Did that for about 7 years. Wow. And had an opportunity to move upstairs. Literally, I was at the GRS building on the 1st floor. That is where the House of Collective Bargaining was. And upstairs of that was the Division of Personnel. So I had the opportunity to serve as Assistant Director at the Division of Personnel. Under Kevin Rodriguez, who was the director at that time. And he was like in the 2nd year of his directorship there, or second half of the 4-year term. I did that for work with Rodriguez for 2 years, and then Kenny Hum was the assistant director, who served as assistant director with me. He worked at St. Croix, I was at St. Thomas. He was appointed with the next administration, the subsequent administration. He was appointed to serve as director, and fortunately for me, he asked me to stay on.
Correct.
So I remained at Personnel for a few years, did some great things at Personnel. One thing that really stands out was the Retro Commission. At the time, I believe it was Carlton Dow and maybe one or two other senators who prime sponsored this bill to pay retroactive wages, overdue back wages for public sector employees. It's in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And the Division of Personnel was charged with putting together a retro commission. That's what they called it. And we had to come up with a formula to do the calculations as to what was owed. It was kind of complicated. It took a year and a half or 2 years to get it done. But we were able to pay out at least 16%, 16 to 18% of the retroactive obligation. We were able to do that, so which was a great experience. Following that, I had an opportunity I was recruited by the Virgin Islands Port Authority to run their HR division. And so I couldn't say no. It was a really good opportunity. I did that for approximately 4.5 years. I was the chief negotiator there. I served as, we headed the labor relations activities for the agency. Just an overall great job. I think I've been fortunate to have some real positive, meaningful experiences throughout my career. In 2015, I had an opportunity to come back to the Division of Personnel when I was appointed to serve as Director of Personnel. Took advantage of that, did that for 4 years. Also, the entire term of the administration. I would say that the biggest thing that we did really was to utilize technology to improve the quality and the caliber of the HR, the human resources product that we deliver. One thing that really stands out is the applicant tracking system that we were able to develop and implement, which cut down the hiring process significantly. That's still in place today. Following that, the end of the administration, left Personnel, applied for a position with the Virgin Islands Board of Education. I was fortunate to be offered that job, so did that. I'm currently on leave from that job to put my hat in the ring for the position of senator. I'm married. I forgot to say that, right? My wife will kill me. So you remember that? I'm married to the beautiful Paulette Van Zen Potter. I have 2 sons. One might be around your age. He just graduated from Duquesne University. I'm very proud of that. My pocket will get some relief from that too. Because that was a very, very expensive proposition there. And I have a son who is a rising high school senior in the fall. He'll be a high school senior. So, that's me in a nutshell. It's kind of long. But in terms of the platform, and what this platform will really be all about, we're going to be pushing identifying meaningful strategies and initiatives to improve the quality of life for all Virgin Islanders. That's a big part of what we will be doing in this campaign, and hopefully when we get elected, if we're fortunate enough for that to happen. But a particular emphasis will be on strengthening the Virgin Islands family.
Correct.
I think that family, without a doubt, is the bedrock of this community. As the family goes, so goes the United States Virgin Islands. And we have some issues in that regard right now. And of course, the Big Five. And the Big Five will be a big focus of the campaign. So the Big Five being really those 5 vexing issues that, if we don't rectify, threaten the very survival. I'm not being dramatic, but it really threatens the very survival of our territory. I'm talking about crime, of course.
Correct.
I'm talking about healthcare.
Correct.
I'm talking about education, WAPA, and the GERS. So in a nutshell, that is what the focus of this campaign will be. I hope that the issues will resonate with the people of the Virgin Islands, that's where we're going.
Well, thank you for that answer, and I just want to commend you on all the opportunities that you got. Obviously, you see that you are very knowledgeable and very informed of everything. My question, when you mentioned your campaign and your platform, why did you choose the tagline, "Let's get serious" for your campaign?
Let's get serious. We were tossing around, and I was kind of going back and forth as to what tagline, what campaign tagline would really speak to where we are now as a territory, and where we ought to be going. And I chose "Let's Get Serious" because I believe that before you are able to really create change, there has to be a certain level of seriousness about it. You have to be serious about change in order for change to be effectuated and implemented. It's the first step, and I know everybody in the Virgin Islands or the world has been looking at what's happening in the United States right now with the police brutality issues and issues related to racism. And it seems as though, it feels as though something different is happening. That we're at that tipping point with regards to some change beginning to happen as far as the motivation of people to make change. So I kind of think that it's something similar that's happening, and I believe that change will happen in the U.S. Virgin Islands when Virgin Islanders get serious about implementing that change.
I agree. And then I know you mentioned earlier with your Big Five, when it comes to crime, GERS, you have education, you have health, and then you have WAPA. For my next question, since you are a first-time candidate, based on your work experience, your previous job listings that you stated, what qualities do you feel that you could bring to as an upcoming senator in the United States Virgin Islands?
I think I am a persistent person. I'm persistent in moving forward with getting things done. I'm passionate about issues. I'm passionate. I am fair. And I'm a level-headed person. And I believe that those are characteristics, those are traits that we need in the Virgin Islands legislature. What was the second part of the question?
What qualities?
The qualities. And as a first-time senator, of course, I have the background in that I have run departments. I've run government departments. And I would venture to say that I've left every government agency that I've been a part of in a better situation than it was before I got it.
Correct.
I am the current treasurer of the St. Thomas Federal Credit Union. I was the past president for several years, I think 4 or 5 years. Virgin Islands Credit Union, and I mean brag a little bit, Christopher. The Virgin Islands Federal Credit Union, we won highly coveted Credit Union of the Year award I believe, in 2019, while I was president. I'm not taking full credit for that because we have a very capable, able-bodied staff, a very capable staff that works well together, headed by very dynamic Keisha Richards, who is our CEO. We have a number of really talented persons who are part of that organization. And it just tells you when like-minded, talented people get together, you know, without hidden agendas, without other personality differences, you can do big things.
Right.
And the credit union is, you know, doing big things. Also with the board, I have to give my board, the credit union board of directors, my fellow board members credit also. So long story short, those are some of the traits, some of the characteristics that and experiences that I have had over, you know, the last, you know, decades of my life that I think will be extremely beneficial to the people of the Virgin Islands if I'm given the opportunity to serve as their elected senator. Okay.
So let's talk about your Big Five. And two main ones from your Big Five is healthcare and another is education. Currently, there are a lot of parents who are still worried about sending their school-age children back to school. Have you thought about a comprehensive plan to assist the Department of Health and Education with a safe plan to reopen schools?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. I have thought about some of what might be required before, as a parent, I would feel comfortable sending my son to school.
Correct.
I've thought about it. However, you know, I'm obviously going to rely on the persons with the expertise, both locally and nationally, to guide those types of decisions as to when we will be opening back school and the plan for how that would look. You know, as a senator, I know senators tend to think that once you're elected as senator, you're somehow the expert at everything. I'm not going to take the bait and fall for that. I am not. We do have oversight responsibility, and that's going to be a part of the job of the senator. When this plan is put in place, obviously the senators will have an opportunity to share it before the Senate, for us to take a look at it, for us to probe, ask questions, ask for clarification, make sure it looks you know, like a sound strategy for bringing our young people back to the, you know, school setting, and that, you know, they will be safe, you know, in that environment. I know issues like social distancing, and I've seen, and somebody sent me a video on WhatsApp the other day, and it showed Chinese children who were back in school after this COVID-19 thing, and they were
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Desk supply, there was wash stations accessible all over the place. The students were eating no longer in the large cafeteria, they were eating in the classrooms at their desks, you know, to minimize the congestion and that sort of thing. So I'm assuming that some thought will go into, you know, strategies like that. But one thing, and while we're talking about COVID-19 and school, there is an opportunity, I think, for us to possibly explore the feasibility of implementing a virtual academy. And I said that because I have a niece who actually lives in a suburb of Atlanta, who, from the 9th grade, before COVID-19 and all of that, she just graduated this, just the other day. She did her entire 9th through 12th schooling through this virtual academy. And I think it's just an awesome opportunity for us to think about going in that direction. I'm not saying everything is going to be a virtual academy, but it'll be an option for the right student, the right type of students may thrive in that type of environment. where it's a teacher-led virtual academy. Of course, the kids will still, the children will still have an opportunity to participate, because she's a volleyball star, so she participates in her extracurricular activities at school. They'll still be able to do ROTC and the like. But I think it just makes sense that we would have an option like that right now for schools, given the broken down infrastructure that we have also, and schools sharing campuses and stuff. Maybe that's something that we can look into, and it's something that if I'm elected, I will definitely reach out to the county in Georgia that's doing such an awesome job there. And hopefully that's something that we can incorporate into the Virgin Islands educational system both here and on St. Croix. So that's something that
I honestly really like that, especially since when I was in school, we had Irma and Maria that affected our education. So we had to switch to online platforms. And then with the pandemic, we had to switch with online platforms. So we had to do it.
Yes.
So that's actually a pretty cool, and I really commend you on that initiative. Another one of your big five is WAPA. And WAPA is always a big discussion here in the U.S. Virgin Islands. So one of the things about WAPA is their fees. A lot of individuals complain that WAPA is the cost of WAPA. The question that I have for you, if elected senator, what are your immediate plans regarding WAPA?
Oh, that's a big one, and I think it's one that affects us all.
Correct.
It's one of those long-standing. When I was your age, younger than that, we have been experiencing the same types of issues with WAPA for years, for 40 plus years. We all know our feeders. That doesn't have any place else in the world. Okay, I think that reliable power is a key ingredient in any stable society, any stable community. You need to have reliable power. Clearly, we don't have that here in Virgin Islands. And on top of that, and you're too young to understand what I'm about to say. To add, unreliable power plus costly unreliable power. That's cocoa beer on top of yas. That's what we call it. That's a bad situation compounded with an even worse situation. That's what we face. That's where we face ourselves right now. That's what we are faced with. Paying premium dollar for inferior electrical service, and it's something that we have to find a meaningful way of resolving. What I would do when I'm elected, I'm thinking positively. First and foremost, I would definitely bring the WAPA executives to the table, to the legislature, to the people's house. I know, you may say, well, Father, you did that before. They were just saying last week or whatever it's going to be. But starting out fresh as an elected official, that is the first thing that we want to do, to sit down with WAPA management, to get a clear and concise overview of where we are and what their plans are from moving forward. It is something that we have to do. And I think that a big part of that conversation and what makes it a little different is that we're no longer going on this road, this antagonistic fight with people who come before the Senate and that we're trying to glean meaningful ideas and updates from. I think that it is not successful, it's not helpful. It creates a me against them. I'm not going to be forthcoming if you're probing in this way. You're trying to embarrass me in the Senate. That day was yesterday. It's a new day. We need to approach this from a team approach. From positions of we're in this together, and I'm not trying to trick you or trip you up or pontificate at your expense.
Correct.
That is a big thing. I think when it comes to WAPA, the things that the experts are saying will cut down the cost for WAPA are one, switching to more efficient propane generators. That has to be done. Where are we with that? I don't know. We need to have a mechanism where WAPA will also incorporate renewables like solar and wind onto the grid. That also, all of the experts are saying, will bring down the cost of electricity. We need to have, I believe, the Public Service Commission have a greater oversight of the Water and Power Authority. I think the PSC in the Virgin Islands has, just looking at other public service commissions throughout the United States, I think they have some of the weakest oversight authority over this public authority called WAPA. So, I mean, I think that those are some of the things that we really need to do to begin to drive down the cost of WAPA. It is bankrupting businesses. Businesses are going...
They're closing.
They're closing, and they're citing WAPA as the biggest reason why that is happening. So, you know, those are some things that we must do. Another issue that's costly to the taxpayers and residents is when WAPA goes, when they have their blackouts, your appliances, your freezers, your personal appliances, your microwave ovens, anything with an electronic element is subject to, you know, be destroyed as a result of WAPA. And there really isn't a true system in place, you know, a court, some judicial area where you can get some sort of relief from WAPA. It's just, well, that's just the way it is. They say when you sign up for electricity, the fine print said you will hold WAPA harmless if your appliances are destroyed as a result of WAPA's jolting your appliance.
Correct.
You know, and all that. So, you know, those are just some things that I think we will have to do with respect to WAPA and getting the cost of electricity reduced.
Okay. Well, thank you for that answer, and definitely WAPA is one of the biggest concerns here in the U.S. territory.
It is.
So thank you for giving a very detailed and elaborate answer.
Thank you.
My next question is in reference to something that is really big on the community as well, and that's gun violence. For gun violence, for years we have heard about spotters, we have heard about cameras and community policing. These initiatives have failed in many communities and many areas around the U.S. Virgin Islands. What is different about your solutions that you're bringing in regards to gun violence?
I too am concerned about. We heard that ShotSpotter was going to be available, and I felt really good. I felt like, wow, ShotSpotter. You know, when people are just randomly letting off their guns, we'll be able to trace and track. You know, and that will be a deterrent for people doing it. Clearly, we're not deterred. The general public is not deterred by that. Oh, but I think that perhaps we need to. I don't know if the ShotSpotter technology is being properly utilized. I don't know, because I've seen it work in other communities effectively. So I believe that it may be an issue regarding training, having the updated technology also. So I'm not ready to dismiss it as yet.
Correct.
I think we need to give it an honest go around. The community-oriented policing is the way to go, clearly. In our community, the problem is we really can't do community-oriented policing because we do not have the proper manpower to do an effective community-oriented policing initiative. We don't. Today, in 2020, we have fewer police officers, hundreds fewer police officers today than we had 10 or 20 years ago. So, I mean, we really have an issue with recruiting and retaining competent police officers. So I think that's something that we really need to focus a lot of our energies on: recruitment, retaining competent police officers, so that we can give community-oriented policing and shot.
Okay.
Can you imagine being in a community where no crime is happening, but you still have the police officers there? And the police officer can say, "Oh, Miss Sandy, I see you in your house there. I look, you know, in the corner there, I see you have a big bush growing up there. That's, you know, it's not a safe kind of look there. And when we come by next week, you know, Officer Tamer and I can come and cut down this bush, you know, from impeding your vision."
Right.
Can you imagine officers having that type of relationship, that type of rapport being established because they are entrenched in the various communities, establishing relationships, building trust. That's how trust is. It's earned.
Yeah.
You don't just say because I'm a police officer, a guy in blue, trust me and give me information to solve crime. People need to feel a sense of trust, and that happens when you build relationships. So I think that needs to happen. It's difficult happening now when you barely have enough manpower to cover a shift. You can't do anything extra. You can't embed anybody in any police officers in any community. You can just basically do a minor patrol. And cameras, you know, definitely, I support the camera initiative. But I think what I would do differently with regards to crime, I think we need to really focus our efforts on the prevention side of crime. I think that, and I haven't done the statistics, so I might just be talking off the top of my head, but I would venture to guess that 90%, maybe more, of the young men who are involved in crime in our community are coming from environments where there's an absent father, where the father isn't really involved in that young man's life. And I think we have a real dangerous epidemic that's taking place in our community with absent fathers, abandoned sons, triggering lower self-esteem, feeding the criminal justice pipeline. That is happening over and over and over in our community. So we need to have programs and initiatives. One thing that I plan to do immediately when I get into office is start working on an initiative called the Family Redemption Act of 2021. And it is going to be comprehensive, holistic, landmark legislation involving the faith community, involving neighborhoods and neighborhood leaders, nonprofits, so that we can work together collaboratively to address some of those critical issues impacting the family, economically, educationally, healthcare. There's so much, you know, the fact that we have disproportionately affected by some critical diseases like diabetes is running roughshod in our community. Everybody knows somebody who's suffering or lost a limb from diabetes. Totally preventable. If families are working the way they should, we will talk about having nutritious, healthier meals. If families are working the way it should, and financially people could afford to visit a primary care physician on a regular basis so that before something escalates to a debilitating illness, that we're able to catch it early. So bottom line is, there are a lot of things that we can do from the prevention side that I think will positively impact crime in the Virgin Islands community.
Wow. And I just want to say one thing that you did say when it comes to the community programs that you're going to ensure. I think that's a wonderful opportunity. It will give students or even youth, especially people my age, the opportunity to do different things, as well as the opportunity to build different talents and skills that you were not able to have. So one of the things that I just really want to commend you on that, and I really definitely looking forward to that. So back to my generation, my generation does not feel working for the government will be beneficial because of the broken GERS system, but we are willing to work. Can you help me to understand why it is so hard for GERS to offer some level of reinsurance to persons who want to make a career out of the government?
Okay. I was talking to you earlier about the one thing that keeps me up at night. There's really two things that keep me up at night. One is my son, 21-year-old son, who just made 21, just graduated, living in Pittsburgh, in this environment with a trusting individual, environment with, police racism, police brutality, issues like that. I worry as a parent, and that keeps me up at night. GERS keeps me up at night also, because of the significance of the loss of revenues in our community if the GERS was allowed to fail. The tremendous impact, the tremendous void in our community. And I know people tend to think that GERS is simply a government employee retiree issue, and there might be some reluctance to be motivated to find a solution if you're not a government employee. But it is in everybody's best interest. GERS, according to the experts, represents 25% of GDP. So that's a hole, that's a void that, will be gone. People who spend their disposable incomes to shop at groceries, to buy a little Freco by the Freco guy. I mean, it's a humongous loss. We have an unfunded liability of upwards of $3 billion. Funded liability being, I have an obligation that I have no reliable revenue stream at hand to pay. That is what GERS is experiencing right now. I don't believe that we have given GERS the proper attention that it deserves over the years. And I don't want to cast blame. Blame isn't a solution.
Correct.
Blame is not a solution. Where do we go from here with respect to the GERS? That is what we need to be talking about. We absolutely need to identify meaningful new revenue streams in order to show up the GERS. GERS is quickly becoming, it is right now, a pay-as-you-go system. Once upon a time, we had the ratio of employees to retirees was like 3 or 4 to 1. So the employee and government contributions could have easily paid the retirees. Now it's 1 to 1. As a matter of fact, it's almost a little less than 1 government employee to every retiree. So you could see that the system is rapidly deteriorating, and no longer all of the cash investments that GERS has is being liquidated every pay period to pay retirees. So everything is dwindling and there's no revenue streams coming in. GERS no longer has investments in the market to earn money. So it is a real difficult situation that GERS has found itself, and we are to give it the attention that it deserves. Look, if a hurricane is coming, we all experience hurricane. Virgin Island doesn't know how to deal with hurricane. The hurricane coming, the people say, the hurricane coming, you go ahead and you take precaution. You board up your house, you take the loose galvanized and stuff from the yard. There are things that you can do to prepare for it. Don't get the impression that we are doing that. And you sound the alarm while you identify solutions, identify a meaningful revenue stream, so that you're talking about $150 million a year. So that's a tremendous burden that is being placed on the system. So any politician who can tell you that, listen, I have the fix for GERS today, they're not being candid and not being truthful. It's something that we may have to, and my team might be a little upset when I say, but I think in order to ensure the survival of the system, it is going to require some sort of shared sacrifice. I am not comfortable with the sacrifice that the system is saying to the tune of 45 to 70% reduction in benefit. That puts Virgin Islanders to the poverty line. That puts everybody to SNAP and some of the federal programs in order for them to survive. But it is going to require some sacrifice on both sides, and we need to be truthful with the people of the Virgin Islands. The impending collapse of the system, they're talking about 2003 being the last day that this the end of December 2003, the last day that we will have a regular flow of the regular annuity check for GRS. So we have to work seriously at fixing the problem. Now, for people like you, I think there is a greater degree of hope.
I was just about to ask you that. For someone like me who just graduated from UVI, my question was going to ask, should I try to work for the government?
I would have to say yes. We need you. We need talented young people to work for the Virgin Islands government. That is where the solutions lie. The millennials and the Gen Zs are going to create the solutions for this territory, period. That's where the solutions are going to come from. So I like to say, and when I ran Division of Personnel and did the Employee of the Year thing, I like to call it public service. And government connotates the negative. Working with the government, the government gravy train. Government is responsible for providing critical services that we need. We have to have hospitals, we have to have schools, we have to have a place where we can collect taxes and the like. So we need young people with sharp minds to be a part of the system. And I think the hope for the system is, my thinking is that we need to at some point transition the GERS for young people like yourself from this defined benefit system that it is right now to a defined contribution 401k type program that's portable. Millennials, you can't get millennials anymore to work for anybody for any 30 years. They're going to see you crazy out of your mind. You might not even get them to work for 10. They might give you five strong. That's okay. Timeline, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I think if we have a GERS portable 401k plan that you can leave with if you're going, if you need to come back, you can bring it back with you. I think that's going to be a real great incentive for young people to not feel as though, why am I contributing to the GRS when these people telling me that it's going to fail? But the GRS, all the actuaries are saying that it's going to correct itself. But you're going to start seeing the correction probably within the next 15 years or so. So by the time people like you are at retirement age, the system is going to be healthy and robust and capable of, taking care of you and your family in your twilight years.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that answer, and I definitely will look into that. Look into the government positions. But when it comes to individuals who are listening right now on social media and they're interested in being a part of the Milton Potter campaign and the Let's Get Serious campaign, what are some ways that they can do that, and how can individuals reach out to you or contact you to make things happen?
Okay. They can go to our website, is Let's Get Serious. No. Elect Milton Potter. electmiltonpotter.com.
Okay.
They can go up there. There is a volunteer button at the bottom where you can click on it, and there's a little brief survey, maybe about 10 seconds, to find out where your talents lie. This campaign is fueled by millennials. We have young people who are fueling and driving this campaign. The talent that they have is amazing.
Right.
And it just gives me a good feeling that our young people are preparing themselves to lead. And we welcome young people, old people, senior citizens, everybody. This is a movement, and we welcome everybody to join this campaign.
Okay. And I just want to say, we definitely do have talented young individuals And I just want to say, like, some of my friends and myself, we're just very creative and everything when it comes to that. So in reference to, we also have another question. In reference to the young individuals, what are just some advice that you would give out to those who are just listening to you?
I'm gonna tell you what my mother told us. She rest in peace. All the time, as children growing up in our household. And we had an army of children. It was 8 of us. And in addition to that, my mother adopted kids, and people were always in our house, and she drilled in us over and over again. A good name in man and woman is truly the jewel to their souls. He who steals my purse steals trash, but he who filches from me my good name robs me of that which enriches him not, but makes me poor indeed. I can articulate that over and over again, and all of my brothers and sisters can do it, because that's what my mother drilled in us. Protect your good name and your reputation. It is more precious than silver and gold. That is the single piece of advice that I would give to young people in this community.
Wow, that's amazing. And individuals like myself, I guarantee we could repeat that every day. Like that could be our affirmation that we could just say that. And when we wake up in the morning, we can sit, because that empowers us, that inspires us to keep going.
I tell the kids that all the time. They get tired of hearing me say it. They could repeat it and finish it. But I think it's really important for young people to.
That's good. I appreciate that answer. Would the candidate sponsor or support legislation tying pensions funded through the general fund to pensions paid through GERS, so that reductions in GERS pension payments would result in reduction in pensions funded through the general fund?
Tell me, say it again. Repeat the question.
So the question is, would the candidate sponsor or support legislation tying pensions funded through the general fund to pensions paid through GERS, so that any reductions in GERS pension payments would result in an equivalent reduction in pensions funded through the general fund? That's actually a question live from social media.
Very good question, and I would. The answer is yes. I think that everybody in this community should be in this boat together. So whether your pension is being funded from the general fund right now, I think all government employees who are part of who are government employees and are receiving an annuity should be in the same boat, and we should all be a part of the same GERS system. So the answer is yes, I would.
Okay, thank you. And once again, that question came straight from social media. So those who are listening, they had the opportunity to just ask you a quick question. Another one, even though we discussed this earlier in reference to qualities and characteristics and experiences, one individual wanted to know what are just some, in a brief couple sentences, what are some qualities, characteristics, and experiences you have that makes you a qualified candidate for the legislature?
I understand government. I'm level-headed. I'm a creative thinker. I have experience running departments and agencies. Anything that I have put my hand to as far as from an employment standpoint, I have left better. I'm not afraid to take chances. Somebody once told me the other day, a long time ago in my career, take actions and beg pardon afterwards. So don't sit around and plan and plan and plan and think about it and think about it. Thinking and planning is important, but at some point you have to act. You have to make decisions. And I think I'm a decision maker. I understand government, I understand people, and I understand that it is critical in our community that we focus, along with the Big Five. I want to emphasize the fact that we need to focus on strengthening our families.
Correct.
And I think that a lot of what we see is really a manifestation of the broken families that we are seeing. So I think my background and experience really makes me very much qualified.
Oh no, definitely. I'm just so amazed with all the knowledge and information that you are sharing. And obviously, just listening, and I'm pretty sure the individuals who are live on social media listening in are just amazed at the different things, because sometimes doing interviews, you gain more knowledge about about individuals. Sometimes it's more knowledge instead of just reading about their platform or reading about their biography or what they did in the past. You can see how passionate they are and how really concerned they are about certain problems that are affecting the U.S. Virgin Islands.
That's true.
So at this moment, I just wanted to ask you if there's just any final words that you wanted to share with the listening audience, or just share based on the interview that we had today.
I want to just first of all thank you very much, Christopher, for this opportunity. I believe that there are a lot of things happening in this community, in this country, in this world. Just this year alone, I have seen change. You know, today the world is one way, and tomorrow it has just changed. I think Virgin Islanders, based on the fact that we've been beaten down as far as some of these key issues for so long, that we've adopted a sense of low expectations. We have this feeling that we don't have to strive for excellence anymore as far as the local institutions. We should be satisfied with just treading water. Just keeping our head above water is enough. And that's wrong. I mean, that is totally wrong. We have the ability to do great things. We can do way more than we think we can. And I think change is afoot, and the time is now for us to roll up our sleeves, stand strong, and demand that their elected officials make prudent decisions based on facts, based on data, based on what is in the best interest of the people of the Virgin Islands, as opposed to making decisions based on politics as usual or blind emotion. The time has come. I think we are at that tipping point right now. That is where we are with this election. We need to make prudent, wise decisions. The time is now for us to fix what appears to be the unfixable. It can be fixed. We can do better as Virgin Islanders. We can restore the level of pride that has been what has made Virgin Islanders so strong and resilient.
Wow. And I believe this is the perfect time to just say your campaign slogan, "Let's get serious," because this is the perfect time moving forward that we could just keep on going and bring in new fresh faces in the 34th legislature.
Yes.
Before I go, I just wanted to ask just one more question. Is there a specific quote that you live by?
One quote that I remind myself of all the time that I live by is, good things happen when you move beyond your comfort zone. That's why they call it a comfort zone, because it's so comfortable. Even if you're in a miserable situation, familiarity brings you this sense of security, this feeling. You're dying, like the proverbial frog in a pot of boiling water that's gradually boiling, and he's just so used to it. We need to get beyond our comfort zone. You know, even though it feels a little uncomfortable.
Correct.
I'm doing that with this run for politics.
Right.
It's not something easy to do. But I think for young people like you, for coming up, great things happen when you move beyond your comfort zone. So that's the one thing that I try to live my life by.
Oh no, definitely. And I just want to commend you on that, because sometimes we gotta get out of comfortable situations to be in situations that really test us and
It's
take
true.
risks.
It's true.
And sometimes those opportunities really surprise us.
It's true.
So with that on the note, I just want to, like I said, commend you on this wonderful experience. Thank you for having me. And thank you to our listening audience on social media who is listening to us right now. Once again, we have our senatorial candidate, Mr. Milton Potter, who will be running for the 34th legislature.
Thank you very much. Thanks for listening.
Yes.